All right, let's check out Emerson Productions. Come on in. This is our space. This is where you'll be working out of when we're preparing for events, for cinematic shoots, anything like that. Right now, we're going to go over our streaming cameras. PJ lets you know a little bit about the audio end of it and what we do to prepare for an event with the audio. We have 4 cameras. We don't always use 4 cameras, but we have 4 cameras here that are dedicated to streaming. We have our lenses up here, tripods, cameras, and some more cameras down here. We have 7 cameras down here. 4 of them are the streaming cameras. Every camera in this room has its own tripod. Without any further ado, let's take out gear number 3. Each camera has its own bag, and if you look inside it, the camera itself, there's a camera and a pouch. And the camera is pre-built to the point where you only need to do a few things to it before we get to put it on the tripod and get streaming. You'll notice when you pull out your camera, and you'll get your own camera assignment, pull out your camera when you're on set, and you're going to notice there's a few things that are inside the bag that go with this camera. So you have a D-tap to USB-C that powers our HDMI to SDI converter. And then you have AC power for the camera, HDMI cables in a little pouch. The first thing you want to do is just make sure you have all of this stuff. And then on the camera, you're going to notice a kind of an extra wire. Going into the mic jack, this is your time code cable. And on all of our shoots, we use time code to make sure that when we're doing a multicam edit, it's a lot easier and you can reference each camera at the same exact point during the edit at any time. On the shoot, generally, I will put these on before the shoots, but if you're responsible for it, they go into this little clamp here. Clamp it down, you don't have to squeeze it too much. This little clamp, it's got a little collar on it. You can just push it on, just like that. And what happens is, once it's on, it's being fed the time code and it's all set to go as long as the camera is running, it's on free run. You're going to want to connect your HDMI cables. Now, this is an important part of it because this is signal flow. So these cameras don't have an SDI BNC connection on them, so we had to put one on them. You'll have 2 HDMI cables in the top, so you can plug in these cables like so. They're the same exact cables, so just plug them into the top. And what happens is, you're going to see this one says HDMI in. That means the camera signal goes to the in. So you're going to go from the camera to the converter. So in order to do that, you're going to see on the side, there's a little HDMI connection. It's a little bit of a tight fit with this time code cable. You just plug that in, just like that. So now you're running your signal into the converter, and then this, in a second, is going to go to our monitor. So we're going to loop it out to the monitor so you can see your signal. Each camera has its own monitor. Shinobi monitor, like the EDC, and we have a mount for it. The mount itself, there's a little screw on the end there, and you just find a place on the handle, just like that. And then the actual signal, or the actual clamp, you unscrew it just a little bit. And there's a little groove on the bottom of the cage for this monitor, and you make sure it's in there, and then you tighten it up so it's nice and tight. And when you unscrew right here, this is called a magic arm. See how it kind of rotates like that? So you kind of put it where you need it, and generally people kind of have it right about here so you can see what's going on. Now remember, I said that this HDMI cable is going to loop out to this one. So what we're going to do is find our HDMI, I can't remember, oh yeah. So on these ones, the HDMI connection is in the back. And then your battery. This is a Sony battery. I'm going to throw that on the back. And then there's an on and off switch right here, or a button. So you press it and hold it for like a second and then let go. And then you're going to notice that it says Adamus and it comes up. Now we're going to plug in the camera. It's got a little 2-pin connector on it. And your 2-pin is in the side of the camera here. So you don't want to push it in and jam it in there because you can bend these pins. So what you do is you just kind of turn it a little bit until you feel it fall in, and then then you give it a little push and it's connected. So on set, each camera position is going to have an outlet, and you're going to have an extension cord. You're going to have a stinger that's either one or it'll have like a triple tap in it, so you can plug multiple things into it. Then you're going to plug your camera in. So now we'll turn the camera on. So each one of these cameras has a gold mount battery. Gold mount battery, see you have the 3 gold connections right there? And this goes on the back of the camera, and what this is doing solely because you're plugged into wall power on your streaming camera, is this is going to power the signal converter. So it kind of, you put it on the back, and it kind of, you grab it and it pushes in. You'll hear it click, just like that. Now, one of those things that was in this little soft pouch that's always in there is DTAP to USB-C connection. And so what this does is it powers your HDMI SDI converter. You can plug it in multiple spots. Usually on the side of the plate, there's a little DTAP connection right there. Because it's on the plate, we can plug it in just like that. Kind of hard to find, but there's a little USB slot right on the bottom of this HDMI SDI converter. Now, you know you're right when you've got a white light on the bottom here. You can see that the signal flow is going from the camera to the box and from the box to the monitor. So now the wires are a mess. We usually pick these, make it nice and streamlined, but you have your basic workflow there. And then during the stream, we have our streaming cart where the SDI reels come into the converter and then it feeds out to the streaming cart so that they can get a signal from your camera. And this is the important thing, that when you get to a shoot, you want to get this up as soon as you possibly can. You want to get a signal flow to the cart so that they can see that the image is right, the cameras are balanced, the sound is good, everything is good. If you take a look at these numbers right here, here's your time code. Now, this time code is not connected right now to what we have. We don't have it going for this right now, but if it was going, the number here that you see rolling, the time code, would be coming from the Adamus UltraSync 1. If this is not moving, and it looks like that and the numbers aren't moving, you want to tap that time code and get it running. This is what we call free run. The settings for streaming, almost always 30 frames per second. We have our shutter angle at 180. ISO 400 most of the time. White balance can change. White balance and ISO will change according to the venue. Last one we were in, it was ISO 400 and white balance 3200. We try to keep the ISO down so that it's not a noisy image. Now, if we go into the menu, the thing that you want to remember when you're monitoring is, remember, you're feeding the camera to the streaming cart, so you don't want to put your focus assist, which is little red line. If you look at the monitor, you can see the little red lines right here. And when I focus, see how they disappear and then they come back? That's your focus peaking. You do not want to send that back to the streaming cart because they'll see it on the stream. So here on the LCD, the focus assist, you can turn it on if you want. HDMI, you want to turn the focus assist off. If this is on, it's going to feed back to the streaming cart. So turn that, make sure that that's off, and your display LUT goes from being more dynamic range to like a Rec 709. So it gives you the color that you want, so that needs to be on as well. So, and then on LCD, you can turn that on. So there. And now, let's see, let's go into record. We always record on these cameras when we're doing a streaming event. So there's a card in here as well as the streaming cart recording the event. To record, our settings are going to be, our codec is going to be ProRes 422 and 1920 by 1080. Unless otherwise asked, it's always 1080. Audio, this one's an important one too. Camera mono on both sides. You can flip through the monitor or flip through the menu and it will give you multiple options, but the scratch audio that you want for the camera is camera mono, meaning it's the same audio on both channels, just used as a reference. That's all it is. It won't be used in the final edit. And the thing that you want to remember is we get there, we set up, we do it in a timely fashion. And when we strike, you put everything away exactly as you found it. All of these camera kits are put away exactly the way that I pulled them out of the bag so that the next person has everything that they need to operate the cameras on set. Tripods over here. Now remember, look on the bottom of this camera. Our tripod plates, different than the EDC, our tripod plates for the most part live with their cameras. So this, you want to just make sure it's nice and tight, and you have an orange tripod plate on the bottom of your camera. This is a Miller tripod. These are the same type. The EDC has these tripods as well. Let's take that out. You want to move the arm out or you're not going to be able to open the legs. So move your arm out. And then sometimes these are connected. This one was not for some reason, but these ones are connected with little hooks down here. You can undo those. And then this one's connected, so I'm going to undo it. There. You want to make sure that you go all the way out with the spreaders. And then here, you're going to see there's locks. And you undo the locks. I always do from the bottom up. So do these locks, and if you just grab, and you can lift right up, just like that, and then tighten these down well. If you need help from somebody else to help you with it, feel free to ask them. Everyone's happy to help you. Tighten that down, give it a little bit of a push to make sure that the legs aren't loose or they're not going to gradually fall forward. And then you can do the top half. And you just grab the head there, lift up, lock these down nice and tight. And then if you look on the bottom, or you look on the back, there's a level. And there's a little button here that you can press that's got a light behind it. But what you do is you loosen up the middle down here, and you get that so it's nice and level, and then tighten it up real good. And there you go. Now you have a level head on the tripod. I always give it a little bit of a push just to make sure that there's nothing loose in there and you're not going to walk away from the camera and find it on the ground when you come back. This type of tripod, all right, this little orange safety right here, you're going to hear it. You put it in at an angle, one side, and then drop it down to the other side so it's in. And then the brake right here, you're going to move that forward and lock it in. So now there's nothing, give it a nice shake, make sure that there's nothing loose. And now you're connected and you can go in and neaten up all your wires, make sure that there's nothing in your way. And we a lot of times leave it up to the students like how they want to operate the cameras and where they want the wires and what's comfortable for you. It's always good to check the level multiple times. And there you go.